Okay.
All right, guys. So my name's Peter from JRN Community Housing. So JRN Community Housing starts in 2016. In 2016, where I lost both my brothers to drug addiction. So 2016, I lost my brother Joe. I found his body. He died from drug addiction. And then I started a program where I would walk the streets and find addicts that were living on the streets, rough sleepers. And I would get them off the street and I'll rehabilitate them. And it started from one or two in my family house to getting bigger and bigger. And then my partner said, you can't bring these rough sleepers into our house. It's dangerous for our kids. So then I went and got a property. And before you know it, I had 7 rough sleepers off the street in the house. And then I worked out another house, got another house and filled that up. But then I started working out a better program where I can get them off the street and send them to detox, send them to rehab, and then bring them into sober living environment. And I found our success rate was massive. A lot of people were succeeding out of this program. So then I just kept doing it. And then my brother was obviously homeless, George, on the street, drug addiction. I went and got him and rehabilitated him, but he died in my house. He died from after effects from drug use. Not everyone's gonna survive your drug use. I mean, the statistics is only 2% survive it. But when I say 2%, that could be 10 million people are going to survive addiction because there's so many of them. So he passed away, and then I just kept going hard. I got a food truck. We go in a food truck. We go in all the local suburbs. We open up the food truck, and we invite the local addicts. Come talk about your addiction, talk about your mental health, your rough sleeper or you're homeless. This is a place where you can come get a blanket, get a hot drink, food in your belly, and we're going to talk to you a little bit today. Next week when we come again, we're going to talk to you a little bit more till you're ready. And they say, listen, we want off the street. We're sick of using drugs. Straight away, we'll take them off the street straight away. We use one of the best rehabs. In my eyes, one of the best, a Christian rehab called Rema Rehab. Pastor Lewis and his son Nick run this amazing rehab in Melbourne. And I can get people in there within days, maybe 2 to 3 day waiting list. I now have a great connection with a rehabs in Taralga, a youth rehab. I can get people in, I can get youth in there within about 5 days now. They're intake and it's got a detox attached to it. So we're doing great things in the community. How does what I do involve neighbourhood watch? When you take your kids out to the shopping centre and someone's begging for money and your kids are seeing a rough sleeper, now that's unsafe for the community because the kids don't need to be exposed to this. You don't need to be exposed to it. When you see Tent City and stuff and it's dirty and it's filthy and there's syringes everywhere, it's because they're drug addicts. We don't have a homeless problem. We've got a drug problem here in Melbourne. Every rough sleeper you see, almost all of them are, yeah, all right, we've got mental health and we've got drug addiction. But the situation where they're homeless because they can't find a place, yeah, there are some, but they get back on their feet and they get into a property sooner or later. And they're pretty clean, they look after themselves and stuff. But the rough sleepers is mental health and addiction. So we need to organise programs for them. You can't just take a rough sleeper that's using drugs and put them in a house. It's not going to work. Good luck because they're going to destroy your house. And they're going to invite all the locals, addicts, and that house is going to be a trap house, and then now you've got a bigger problem. You're living next door to a trap house. Bigger problem for the police. Going in a trap house constantly. So JRN, we do sober living recovery program. So when we get these guys in the house, we drug test them every 3 days. They've got to do Narcotics Anonymous. They've got to come out and feed the homeless. But if they use drugs, we're holding them accountable to their sobriety. So if they use drugs, then we send them back to a rehab for 12 months or 3 months, whatever the program is. Or they got to do 90-90. That means go to Narcotics Anonymous, 90-90. But if they keep using drugs and they don't want to change, then we exit them out the program, which means we've got to throw them out. Because we've got to keep the house safe for the neighbours, house safe for the community. And when we say we move them on out of the hills. So we'll move them on into the city areas where they can get better services and stuff. So we're getting rid of the problem altogether from here in the hills. So this is just something I wanted to share. We also work in Victoria Market. We work all over Melbourne. We're getting people off the streets all over the place. And then obviously we got local law with council need to be more lenient in the hills here with the amount of people that you can have in a house. Like we got you got some houses with 6 or 7 rooms and you can only have no more than 3 family members. And that's a Yarra Ranger issue because the other councils allow that. Not in a big extent, there's a certain number. So that's just one of the issues we have here in the hills. There's been a homeless shelter in Lilydale that got closed down by council. Did you know that? A few years back. So council in Yarra Ranges is a bit of an issue for people trying to help people. They make it very hard. And also the neighbours complaining about like houses like myself that are sober living, that's gonna cause trouble between us and the council. So it's about being mindful of the program we're running. But it's also, obviously, neighbours are sick of having share houses next to them because they're full of drugs and full of wrong people and traffic in and out and police there constantly. So this is where JRN comes in. We changed the whole thing about community housing. We're sober housing, we're getting rough sleepers off the street, but we need community support. I have no government funding in JRN. There's no government funding. No one has our back. JRN, the little money I make from the properties, I use it in the food truck where we go out, we buy our own food, we feed the homeless. So the more awareness about what we're doing, the more people can understand JRN. We're not out there to make a headache for people. We're out there to make it better for people. And that's something I wanted to share. I've got pamphlets here if you guys want to share them around and understand why we're doing what we're doing. I'm also on all the platforms, if you want to share these. I'm also on all the platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and we get a lot of people from social media, like parents. You know, one of the biggest things JRN does, parents ring us up and tell us about family violence that's happening with their kids. Their kids are bullying the parents in the house. Yeah. And the parents don't want to get the police involved because the police is going to lock them up. But what they don't understand is when the kids are coming in and smashing walls and stealing money, they need the police involved. So they need education around how the police work and the programs in jail that actually work with them to get them off the drugs. So even if they keep coming back and breaking the order, the parents need to speak up. So there needs to be education. It's not just the husbands and the wives fighting, it's the kids. What the kids are doing to their parents in addiction is massive, And I see it every day. And trying to tell the parents, please call the police, tell the police what's going on. No, we don't want to involve the police because the police are going to lock up their son. And 9 times out of 10, there's already an order that's there. But these guys, when they're coming in the house drug affected, they're not only affecting mum and dad, they're affecting all the neighbours around. So it becomes a neighbourhood watch problem. It needs to be educated. The parents need to be educated. So we go in the houses, we speak with the kids, we take them from the house and we put them in our sober living environment where we rehabilitate them, or we send them to a rehab or a detox. Sorry, I've gone over the 15 minutes. Don't
worry.
So what we're doing is real, 100% real. We need backup. We need backup from guys. The people on the internet have been good because I get rough sleepers off the street. They don't even have Centrelink. They got nothing. And I get them off the street. I need to put them in a rehab. I need 600 to get them into the rehab. And I post on my page, guys, I've got a guy for rehab. I need $600 donated. All of a sudden, everyone starts donating. I make that $600. I put him straight into rehab. And that's Rema Rehab. Amazing. Pastor Lewis is amazing. If you're not Christian, this is the place where you think about being a Christian, because what Pastor Lewis is doing in this community is next level, and they're all over the world. The money they make out of Australia, they only charge $225 a week here in England, and the rest of the world is free. Africa, everywhere is free. And this is next level what we're doing. The connection we have in community is amazing, but we're not credited, we're not recognised by government. And I'd like to change that one day, but at this stage it's impulsive decision about my brothers dying and myself going out and helping people with no government funding, paying for everything, and I fund the whole thing. So the Sober Living Recovery Coach, I do it all for free. I do it online for free. I do it with the people for free. We get them in the housing. We help them. I think I've got a big mum and dad's fan club. The mums ring me up on a Sunday morning and say, what can I do for you? You helped my son. I say, no worries, just get me a scone, jam and butter. I'm happy with that. But we're working with a lot of parents that are suffering with family violence from their kid. And if anyone here wants to know what it's like if you don't have a kid that's an addict, or if you have a kid that's an addict, watch a movie called A Beautiful Boy. It's on Prime TV, and it will tell you about a dad that chases his son around and being bullied by his kid. And that's what we're suffering. We're suffering with families getting bullied by their loved ones. And that's a very big issue. And that's what I'd like to leave it at that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you take some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe I could start by asking you, I'm very surprised that you haven't been able to get funding.
No funding at all, because there's a few, to get funding I've got to work behind the scenes, and I can't work behind the scenes because I'm in front line working flat out. So I haven't been able to have a minute where I can organise government funding and I can go. I mean, MPs have asked me for meetings before, but if I'm going to go meet an MP and I've got a homeless guy that needs help, I'm going to go get the homeless guy straight away. Because my priority is helping the people, not sitting in a cafe and eating donuts with them, even though I love donuts, but I prefer scones actually.
Are you doing this all by
jams and butter. My partner Kim and I, we do it by ourselves.
Amazing.
Do it by ourselves.
Please.
Just recently we did a clean up Australia Day up at Gilwell Park, and I don't know if you know Gilwell Park. There's a couple of homeless people up there. We didn't go deliberately around them. One of them came out and spoke to me, but he just didn't know how to go about cleaning up his mess. He looked so lost, and I don't know if anybody can help these people, but it's not so good.
I'm gonna repeat the question you're asking. It's there's homeless people. I'm deaf. Sorry, you're gonna have to speak up.
Yeah, there's a couple up at Gilwell Park in,
Homeless people
It's in the forest in general.
in the forest of Gembrook.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where they can come out and speak to me when I do the food truck. So if I've got a day in a food truck in Baronia or Belgrave or somewhere, this is where they can come and talk to me. Or they can get my number and they can call me up and we can organise what we're going to do, and if they want the help.
Yeah.
I mean, they can live in the bush or they feel safe in the bush, but there's a number of factors. Are they using drugs? What's their mental health? Is there trauma? What's going on? Why are they where they are? It's not just about getting them off that situation and putting them in a house, because that's not going to work. We need to come to the source. Why are they homeless? I get that question all the time. It's very common. People ring me up and say, oh, there's a homeless person here, or there's a homeless person here, and I'll go out and see him. Do you want the help? No, I don't want the help. And it's
say that because he's been here a long time. We've had other homeless people in general, and they've
Yep.
moved on. But yeah, he's been there quite a while.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have one actually. We've had a couple of rough sleepers up here in the last 12 months.
Speak up, David. Speak up.
Sorry. So we've had some rough sleepers here over the last 12 months, and I've seen the CAP team and the wellness team come out and speak to them, the police speak to them.
Yep.
They don't want any help. How do you convince someone like that to get on board with a program like yours?
All right. So the question is why are they up here in the hills where it's colder and they're exposed to the elements? That's one of the biggest questions as well. And the other point is, you're right, they don't want the help, because you're going to find that they're using drugs. So they're using meth or using some sort of drug. They want to be homeless. They want to be there because they get to use all their Centrelink money on drugs, my friends. So they want to be there. How do we help them? The only way we can help them is by the police keep interfering with them, making sure they're doing the right thing. The CAT team coming out and seeing them, even though they're doing drugs and even though they're drug addicts, they're still human beings. So this is where the police do a fantastic job, and I see it all the time in the CAT team. They come out. I know as residents you sit there and you think, geez, why are they here? They're making a place look messy, you know. They're using drugs, they're leaving syringes everywhere. But the police and the CAT team take care of that. So they're going out, they're seeing them constantly. They know they're there, they know where they are. The CAT team's coming up because they're using drugs, they're unwell. The CAT team comes up, probably gives them antipsychotics or whatever they do. And the CAT team will offer them, come back to hospital, or let's put you in one of these houses, but they probably don't feel safe because all the share houses are full, 90% of the share houses are full of drugs. So they probably feel safer in the park where they can use drugs in peace. The way we can help them is just keep, when you see someone like that in a park, just keep walking up to them and, brother, are you okay? Look, here's a pamphlet for a rehab. Here's a pamphlet for a detox. Keep giving it to them, because being Middle Eastern background, we believe it takes a whole community to change one person's life. But if everybody is educated about just give them a cupcake. I love cupcakes. Scones, actually, I love scones more. But just give them something small to eat and a pamphlet with detox numbers and rehab numbers and, mental health numbers and rough sleepers numbers and shelters numbers. Just keep giving it to them. And eventually it's going to kick in one day. They're going to have enough of that situation. No one wants to live like that. No one wants to be an addict.
Gary?
I've seen this like ever since I was younger, working in Abbotsford and Richmond. You'd come to work from our suburb, which was an outer suburb, and you'd see people sleeping in the gutters, down laneways, on blocks of land. It was all alcohol back then. But of course, I think in those days you'd also see the Salvation Army out.
Yep.
Doing exactly what you're right, mate. You're right, mate. And that's what you're talking about.
That's it.
Exactly the same approach. And some people, you can't change their life enormously because they choose to live that way sometimes.
Absolutely.
But you do not want them dying on the street of the cold.
And I mean, if we were in a perfect world, I mean, they'll make it compulsory for these guys to go to a detox and a rehab, but we don't do that. Or cut off their Centrelink and put them in a detox rehab. We're not going to do that because we're Australia. But you are right, it's addiction. So that's all addiction, what you're seeing there. So they just need services. And this is why I don't understand why they're in the hills. They should be in the city, because they have nurses that walk in the city to make sure they're all right, make sure their blood pressure's good, make sure their sugar's all right, the ulcers on the feet. They get all this stuff in the city. I see it all the time. Up here in the hills, we don't have them services. I think we might, don't take my word, I think there's one or two companies that do go out and see rough sleepers. I think there is, if I'm correct. So there is good stuff. It's about educating the community once again, the numbers to ring. So if there's a rough sleeper here, okay, I'm going to call up Peter from JRN Community Housing, I'll come down and see him. And then you might call up the local nurse people to come out and see him, or the local CAT team. If they're leaving syringes around, let the police know they're leaving syringes around. About it all working together.
I can give a bit of an overview around the local situation too after I'll just give a little bit of an update as well after you've chatted. Yeah.
Yep, I know there's a few services in the hills here that come out and see them, but big services like proper government services that come out, professionals. I mean, there's a few services in the hills here that just do food. Really, we're not helping them by just doing food. We're helping them with housing, we're helping them with detox, we're helping them with rehabs, we're helping them with the CAT team coming out with Sam, we're helping them with the police coming out, Sam. They're actually helping them by giving them a meal and giving them a number of a rehab. Hey brother, here's a number of a rehab, number of a detox.
How can we help you to help them?
Don't know. I need a weight loss program. We've got to stop eating those bloody cupcakes. But for me, the biggest help.
How can we actually support you? Really help you?
Bring my brothers back. That would be the biggest support. If you could go back in time and bring my brothers back, and I don't know, like I hate money. I hate money. I hate money. I hate it when people say I can just give you money and I can do this. What we're doing is bigger than money. It's community. Ring me up when you see a rough sleeper and I'll come and help them. If you know someone with butchers and they can donate us some meat for our next event, that's good as well. It's not about money. Money's not going to bring that person back alive for me, or money is not going to do anything for me. But if we get a community working together where we can create a safe place, you know, when I come out in a food truck, if you make a casserole and bring it out to the food truck. So I got, even if I'm in the city or wherever, ring me up and say, Peter, I can see you're going out to Victoria Market. I'm going to come out. Me and my husband made a casserole. Me and my kids made a nice casserole. Something we're going to give it to you so you can feed the homeless. That's where I need help the most. And the houses, you know, Peter, we've got bedding. You want some bedding or pillows or stuff like that. That's where I need help the most. And if you do have money that's been donated to us, it's going in a kitty. We're using it for rehabs. Keep an eye on our page. If I need money for rehab, I usually chuck it on my page. Guys, I've got someone, I'm ready to put him in a rehab. I need donation of $600. And if you give $1, you give $5, you give $2, that $600 is going to be made very easy.
It's mentioned General Golf Shop when it's open. We're donating to the homeless.
Sorry?
We're donating to the homeless. We're giving blankets and clothes and shoes and things like that.
Yeah, stuff like that's good. I don't really get involved in the shoes and the clothes side because we're out there getting them into detoxes and rehabs and getting them off the street. But, you know, I know other services that do accept that sort of stuff. With me, it's blankets and sleeping bags, underwear and socks. That's your most important thing for rough sleepers is underwear and socks.
Socks and jocks.
Socks and jocks. Yeah, that's the Aussie way of saying it. Yeah, socks and jocks. I accept socks and jocks. And blankets. Coming into winter, we need blankets. There's been times I've been up in the streets and I'm going through every penny I have to go to Kmart to buy a blanket for 2 women that are sleeping without a blanket. And then the next week you're giving them another blanket. Then the next week you're giving them another blanket. Do we say no to them? We can't, because what they do, they leave it laying around because they got better things to think about where they're going to sleep, where they're going to use their next hit. So they just leave it, come back, and they got no blanket. And then I think there's a lot of people that die of hypothermia in there overnight. Yeah. It gets very cold up here in the hills. Even the Vic Market gets very cold.
You get wet. You get wet.
I just wanted to speak to sort of why at least some of the homeless are here. Particularly the older ones, they grew up here and they come back.
Sorry?
Particularly the older homeless at the moment have grown up here previously, so they're coming back home.
Yep.
Basically, just to speak to why they're here. I'm not sure how many were local, but I think they're just coming home.
Yep. So they come back for home because they grew up in a... Are they homeless in a car or they're rough sleeping? Rough sleeping.
Or if you include camping in that.
And I mean, is there a Cockatoo community centre where they can go have a shower?
Yes.
Yeah, so they've got that. Yep, the church. So it's about educating them. So walk up with a pamphlet and educate these guys. Say, here's a pamphlet. Look, here's all the services in their area. You can go have a shower here. You could go for a free meal here, because even though they're using all their money on drugs, they still need to eat. And I know as much as we can stand back and judge them and call them filthy, disgusting, they're still someone's son, someone's daughter. Someone loves them out there. So let's just give them something with services where they can go to, and that's all we can do if it's their home place. And I mean, if you know someone that's ready for detox and rehab, give them my number. You don't even have to give them my number. There's other services. Someone might not like me for a reason. Use other services. And the problem is it takes so long. I just got in contact with a nurse that can do in-house detox with me now. So this is just today actually. I'm talking to us because the biggest issue is the detox before you put them into a rehab. But I may have that sorted now, so I might be able to get rough sleepers straight off the street. But fingers crossed, knock on wood, that's going to work. But at the moment, it's my ambition and impulsive again, which got me till here.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Yeah, so very sorry to hear about your brothers. I can understand
We go.
why you're doing what you're doing. It's not important. Where do the houses come from? How do you get those? Because I know that you're funding, you don't have any.
Before my brother passed away, I was a bricklayer. I was a builder. So I wasn't poor, but I was okay. And I had a few rentals and I was just renting them out to families. And then once my brother died, I sort of changed the format of that, and then I bought a couple more, and then I got a couple more here, a couple more here. So I own the properties. Where I still got to pay the mortgage, I've got to do everything. So, but at this stage, God provides for us. So our number one faith is in God, because God will always provide for me. Does that make sense?
Any other questions?
Can I just jump in and just give a bit of a local thing? So we definitely see exactly the kind of homeless cases. I'm from council, sorry, Cardinia Shire.
Oh, all right. Yep.
But we definitely see the cases that you see, and we do work with VicPol on the more prickly homeless cases. I've got a staff member, Kat Scott, who gets a lot of the requests that come in from the community. I will say though, the vast majority that we're seeing in Cardinia Shire at the moment are actually because they're seniors. And there's a lot of, this really started in October to November 2024. We saw a huge spike in seniors particularly becoming homeless because investment properties were being sold and they couldn't find another rental in the area or rental that they could afford. So we ended up with a big influx of seniors sleeping in cars, or they might have had a caravan that they were using for, recreational trips. That's all of a sudden become their home. So we do have a lot of transient seniors that move around the area. The vast majority of the people that are homeless are there because they can't afford a rental, but also because I'm not sure if you would definitely be aware, but the only access point to get a accommodation is actually in Dandenong. That's our closest one. So that's like saying from someone from Dandenong, you just go to the city and access a service. That's cool, man. They don't have money, even getting public transport or paying for petrol, it's a barrier. So having the only access for them to get homelessness services in Dandenong is an issue in itself. However, we find, and we hear anecdotally, and the police would hear the same, the reason that we're seeing the spread out to Casey, Yarra Ranges, Cardinia of the homelessness cases is because there's such a concentration in Dandenong. I don't know if you've been to Dandenong recently.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm from Dandy. I do a lot of stuff in Dandy.
Yeah, I grew up in Dandy.
Yeah.
I was a Dandy boy.
So we're both Dandy boys.
Yeah.
Do you love cupcakes as well?
I love the pink ones, mate. But yeah, I either lived or worked there until I started here about 8 years ago. But it's become a tent city, really. There's a lot of homelessness there. And the reason that we're hearing people are moving further and further out is they're feeling safer here than they feel in Dandenong, where it's saturated with, unfortunately, a lot more of the cases that you're talking about.
Addiction.
Thankfully, addiction. A lot of addiction and drug use and everything that goes with that around how do I get the money to get that next whatever. What we're seeing out here is more the people leaving that
industry.
For the vast majority, thankfully, and VicPol would see the outliers of that, and we work with you guys on that. But the vast majority that we're seeing here are really those people that are trying to escape that, and are just in a situation where they're trying to get back on their feet. And you mentioned at the start, the majority of people that are in that boat do find accommodation, and that is 100% true. So we find that, I mentioned 2024, I reckon 80% of the people that we've seen since then have been able to get into some form of housing since that point. So we do find that homelessness in this area is about a 6-month proposition, and then they're able to link in with services, but it's really difficult. And there's only one, you talked about service providers covering this area, there's only one outreach worker from an organisation called IRMA that covers Dandenong, Casey and Cardinia. One person. So to get them to come out and visit is really difficult.
What about the ladies from Lilydale? I know there's a group of ladies. They've given me a few guys to put in out there. Lovely. They're a pretty big company. They do the hills.
Oh, that would be, yeah, they might cover Yarra Ranges.
Yarra, is this Yarra Ranges?
No,
Oh, okay, I see.
We're Cardinia, when you flip into Yarra Ranges when you get past Emerald.
Okay.
So Belgrave, you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yarra Ranges, that's where I'm from now.
Yeah, all right.
So we're kind of.
So you're
the
different.
need's increasing, and we are advocating for additional services. There's a whole lot of work happening at a few different levels. I won't go into that. If you're interested, come talk to me. But trying to get those services closer and more coverage for this region. So at the moment, there's not a lot. So we're really, our staff, like you mentioned, they will go out with our compliance team, and we've got something called Cardinia Support, which has all of the stuff that you're talking about. Here's all the supports in Cardinia. Are you looking for that? Yes. Or I've already tried X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E. None of them can help me because there's just too much need and not enough assistance there. So a lot of the time, by the time we visit them, they've already tried everything. We'll provide them that information again, but it's really about trying to link them in with services like you, perhaps, or other ones where we know they might be able to get some additional support outside of what they've already tried. So that's cases, we get cases coming in, I won't say every day, but very regularly, multiple a week at the moment, we're getting reports. So that's, I guess, from a local perspective, but thankfully I can say hand on heart that we've only got a small percentage of those higher end, at-risk drug and alcohol addiction cases. Which,
up here.
I hope it remains that way. And that's where we will bring in our friends from Vic to assist us with those.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, it's really around support, monitoring, connecting, talking, seeing how we can connect them in support so they can find their way through the challenge that they're facing at the moment. So just the other side. I guess that's just the other side.
And then like I said, in Dandenong as well, you are spot on. They want to get out of that scenery, and because they're getting preyed on by drug dealers, by, I don't want to talk too much out of school, but it's people do prey on them and go and offer them drugs. So if they're trying to get out of the drug scenery, which a lot of rough sleepers do, believe it or not, they go through stages of damage to myself. I need a break. So that's when they'll start coming up in the hills. So that's when they're most vulnerable up here in the hills, and I've seen it. And this is where they need the community services, police walking up to them and giving them, look, my friend, here's all these services. If their mental health's not right, let's try to get them in a psych ward and let's get the system to work with them, because the system can work with them if we know how to work the system for them. Does that make sense?
Okay, Robert?
Just add, I just wanted to, I'm not sure that everyone is aware of a new local service, so it's not a homelessness service unfortunately, but it is an emergency relief service that's now operating from the base in McBride Street here in Cockatoo. So the Dandenong Rangers Emergency Relief Service is open Thursdays and Friday mornings, so 9 a.m. till 12:30. So that's a great space for people to connect in with if they're looking for some support services.
And there are those local services that are providing things like swags, tents, sleeping bags like you were talking about, because if there is no roof, actual physical roof, that is what some of the services are able to offer, and a lot of that's donation too.
Romney, can you give me more information to that? Because I can put it in local newsletters.
Absolutely.
The bases across the road used to be the Monash Medical Centre. It's quite large. It's got about 9 rooms. I was involved when it opened, but we hope to they hope that as well as art and other things, they hope to be that is a community help centre.
All right.
Okay, Peter, I think we've got our heads working. We're really thinking about what you're saying.
Sorry, I do talk too much.
No. You're sowing seeds in our brains now, and I think a lot of us are now saying, wow, it's just amazing the work you're doing. Thank you so much for coming.
No worries, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a safe place to talk. Thank you, guys.
Thanks also, Mark, for an update
No problem.
on the current situation. We really appreciate it. It's all downhill now, Cole. It's all over to you.